Okay, hello. Welcome back to the third class in the new intermediate series on SEDA College Online. I'm very happy to see you all here today. Now, we're going to talk a bit about some ideas from the previous two lessons. So if you haven't seen the first two lessons, or maybe you've forgotten one or two things, please feel free to go back, rewatch the video, because we will be carrying ideas with us every day into the new lesson. So it's always going to build on itself. So please, get comfortable, sit down, relax. We're going to be here for the next maybe half an hour to do another lesson. Okay, so let's get going. The first lesson, sorry. Firstly, we always do the lesson overview. So I'm going to show you what we'll talk about. That way you know what to expect from today's lesson and can follow along with my plan. So the grammar on the agenda for today, we're going to really work with the past simple and the past perfect. Those are kind of the big items for today, and we're going to do a lot of pronunciation with that because specifically this ed suffix, this ed pronunciation, is a very, very important, and it happens in both the past simple and the past perfect. So it'll come up again and again. And next, we're going to do some vocabulary, already just in yet, and we're going to talk about money verbs at the end of the lesson, just because money is something where the past simple and the past perfect, you can see it a lot. All right, so let's get started. So, the past simple. As always, I'm going to start with meaning. So, the meaning for this is to talk about events in the past that are totally finished. So that's the key idea here, is we're talking about events that happened in the past, they stay in the past, and they have no connection to now, no real influence on the present. So how do you make that? Well, the simple formula is subject, verb plus ed. But I'm sure you know there are many irregular verbs in this tense. So English has a long list of verbs that have different forms for the past. This has a lot to do with the history of the language and how in the past English did something different. It had a different system for the present to the past. Over time, we changed to the current system, ed verbs. So we kind of now see both of them happening together. So always try to use, I recommend flashcards for these irregular verbs. Write on one side of the card the infinitive, the other side the past tense form, and flip back and forth to help remember. This is what I had to do when I was learning Spanish and Chinese. I used lots of flashcards to help memorize those things. So let's look at the past simple on a timeline, because really tense is talking about time, past, present, future, so it's always helpful to see it in that context. So here's my timeline. The middle is going to be now, the present, and then I have the arrow continuing to the future and the past. So really, the past simple is just that one event in the past. It's just everything is there, contained there, and it's held there. So I'm going to be talking about things like I walked to work yesterday. That all happened yesterday. It's finished. Or I cooked breakfast today. This was at 9 a.m. I didn't cook. I made cereal. But there's nothing more happening with it, nothing more about now. So this is kind of a brief overview of the past simple. So let's look at this ed pronunciation now. So this is the suffix for regular verbs. So things like walked and jumped. This is also the suffix for adjectives. Maybe you've seen words like stressed before. I'm very stressed right now. And so it's the same suffix, different things for verbs and for adjectives. Luckily for you, the pronunciation is the same if we're doing ed or for the verbs, or we're doing ed for adjectives. It will be totally the same. So always please remember these rules that I'm going to talk about, because they will come back again and again and again. So really, the ed suffix has 3 sounds. It has these 3 different sounds, and these sounds are all based on physics. So what do I mean by physics? I'm talking about phonetics. We're going to look at your throat and your teeth and your mouth in this, and really how humans are making sound with our bodies. So here are the 3 sounds for the ed pronunciation. We've got t for top, d for dog, and id. This one I don't have an example because it's not as clear as the others, but you could think maybe something like idiot. That first syllable in idiot is kind of equal. So these are the 3 sounds. So the spelling is not helpful here. The spelling is not pronunciation. The ed suffix here is never ed. That is incorrect. It is not ed. Your sounds are t, d, and id. So what are the rules? How do I use them? So we use the T sound when the final sound of the verb has vibration. So vibration, this is coming to physics and phonetics. So if you hold your hand to your throat, touch about here, and make a sound. It can be any sound. I will say a vowel sound. Ah. If you do that, you will feel vibration in your throat. There will be movement here. So make the sound with me. Touch your throat and make the sound ah. Ah. You can feel it. That is called voicing, and that creates the sound that we hear when we speak. So you can have 2 sounds. One can be voiced with vibration, or one can be unvoiced without vibration. This happens with consonant sounds. So a sound like t, 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 as in top, there is no vibration. It is just air moving through your mouth. T, t, t. If you touch your throat and you make a T sound, there will not be vibration. T, t. On the other hand, if you make a D sound, there will be vibration, because that is the difference between a T and a D. Your mouth is in the same position, the same configuration, but your voice here is doing something different for the sound, and that's how we make the difference between the 2. So touch your throat again, and let's make a D sound. D, d, d. You should be able to feel the movement, the vibration in your throat. And we can do them, compare back and forth. T, d, t, d. Same sound, difference in vibration. And so that is how the English suffix ed is really pronounced. It's a T or a D. So if the sound has vibration, or if the sound, does not have vibration, we'll use the T sound for the suffix. If the sound has vibration, the final sound of the verb has vibration, we'll use the D sound for the suffix. So now, what do we do if the final sound of the verb has a T or a D on the end? Maybe something like the verb need. Well, then we add the suffix id. So that's your third choice here, id. So let's look a little more at some examples. So I have the verb here, to walk. The final sound is a K. K, k, k. No vibration. So even though the spelling is W-A-L-K-E-D, the pronunciation is not walked. That is incorrect. It is walked. We add a T sound to the K because they match. K, k, t, t. walked. Another example, the verb call. So in call, the past tense spelling, there should be an ed here, is C-A-L-L-E-D. But the final sound of the infinitive, call, is a sound with vibration. Call, You can feel the vibration. So then we add a D sound to match because it's the same. L, vibration, D, vibration, D, called. So it's one syllable, one sound, called. But let's look at a verb like need. Well, the final sound here is a D, and we know that D is voiced, D. But it doesn't work if I add D and D together. That doesn't work. Needed does not sound good, makes no sense. And so because of that, we add a vowel. We add the vowel I, and it becomes needed. And this is only for T's and D's, where we have the vowel I here. So only for T and D will it be id, needed. And fortunately, these rules are based on physics and phonetics. There are no exceptions. So if you are unsure about the pronunciation, you're not certain if it's a T or a D or an id, touch your throat and make the final sound of the verb. K, d. When you make the final sound, you will know exactly what the correct suffix is because it will always work. So let's do some examples. Here's the verb jump. What do you guess is the correct pronunciation? Try to guess right now. P, p, p. So p, no vibration, T sound, jumped, jumped. Another example, invite. Final sound, t, t, t. So it's a T. What is the ending then? Good. Id, invited. Another example, help. P, p, P again. So it's a T sound, helped. Next, clean. Vibration. So then it is a D sound, cleaned. Next, enjoy. Final sound, oi, oi, oi. Vibration, enjoyed. We add a D sound. Want. Want. Final sound, t, t, t. No vibration, but can't put T and T together. So id, wanted. So they'll always match together to this chart I'm showing you. T for no vibration, D for vibration, id for T or D. So let's say all of these verbs together to try and practice our mouth in this way. So repeat after me. Jumped, jumped. Invited, invited. Helped, helped. Cleaned, cleaned. Enjoyed, enjoyed. Wanted, wanted. All right, very good. This pronunciation is so important because it is something that we hear very clearly if it is used incorrectly, because you will add a syllable where there should not be a syllable. So you must be very careful that you match the correct sound to the correct verb. If you ever want practice with this, you can always look in a dictionary, and a dictionary will help show you the correct pronunciation. It's just something to keep in your mind and begin to listen to yourself speak. And if you hear jump ed, or if you say help ed, you go, oh, no. I know that's not right. Helped. And you can work through that process to kind of practice the correct pronunciation. The correct pronunciation for this. All right. So let's look at the present perfect. So that was all. I know, ooh, that was a lot. And that was only the past simple. Now we're looking at the present perfect grammar. So for the present perfect, we're going to talk about events that started in the past or happened in the past, but are connected to the present. This is a distinction that's very important to English. The past simple is past and only past, where the present perfect is past connected to the present. So how do you make it? Well, the verb is a little more complex here. We have an auxiliary. We have auxiliary verb have. So subject plus have plus the past participle. Now, what's the past participle? That is usually the ed form of a verb. Sometimes English, though, has irregular past participles as well, so you'll have to be careful with that. Usually, though, the past participle is for a regular verb is the ed form. Okay, so I'm going to use the timeline again because I think it will help show the different concept. So same timeline, past, now, future. But the difference is that for the present perfect, the event started or happened at this past point, but some part of it, some idea, is still connected to now. Let's look at some examples. Often for experiences, we will use the present perfect. I have visited Barcelona. Why do I say I have visited instead of I visited Barcelona? Is because my memories, my knowledge, my experience of Barcelona is here today. I can remember the cathedral. I can remember the Dali Museum. So I know these. I have it now. So I use the present perfect because my trip happened in the past, but my knowledge is connected to the present. Or I could say something like Tina has cut her finger. She's chopping. She cut her. I use the present perfect here because that cut happened in the past, maybe 5 seconds ago, very recent in the past, but the cut is still here. There is blood, I can see it, so it is still present. So she's cut her finger. It'll always be that kind of idea. There will be some evidence, some idea connected to now with the present perfect. Okay, so pronunciation for this. I think you can guess. I can hear you already. It's contractions. Woo! We're going on for another bit of contractions, third lesson in a row. So for the present perfect, we have auxiliary verb have. So we have contractions with have. I've, you've, he's, she's, it's, we've, they've. Those are all your positive contractions. Negative contractions are haven't and hasn't. So let's do a bit of practice with that. This is pronunciation, so repeat after me. I've, you've, he's, she's, it's, we've, they've. Very good. Okay, now to the negative contractions. Haven't, hasn't. All right. So here are some examples of those. I've visited Barcelona. Tina's cut her finger. So again, I use the star symbol here because I do not recommend writing. This is only speaking. Tina's cut her finger. So we attach the contraction to any subject, a pronoun or a regular noun. We will attach the subject. And then we've just left the bar. Maybe your friends call you. Hey, what are you guys doing? Where are you? We've just left the bar. You just exited the door, and there's that idea of the past to the present again. So this sentence is very important. We've just left the bar. Okay. So in addition with the present perfect, we have some special vocabulary that is connected to it. These are adverbs: already, just, and yet. So as I said, that present perfect is about an idea in the past connected to now, connected to the present. But where it is in the present is important. And we use these three adverbs to help organize. Am I talking about something that finished before I spoke? Am I talking about something that finished at the moment of speaking? Or am I talking about something that I expect will finish very soon? This idea of finish is very important to the present perfect because it is kind of the, the distinguishment between the past simple and the present perfect. The past is totally finished in the past, whereas the present, there's still something happening. So we need these words to help organize when is the finishing happening. So I have a timeline to help illustrate this. We've got the past, the now, and the future. Already will be something just before now. It could be a long time ago before now, especially with experiences. So maybe I visited Barcelona already, so I don't want to go this time, I want to go to Madrid. That's something that happened long ago, but I use the present perfect because the idea is still here today. It's an experience. Or maybe just. Just is to say it's finished almost the moment I spoke. So your friend finishes her coffee. Ooh, she has just finished drinking. That last sip is down at the moment of speaking. Or we're using yet to talk about the future. This is usually negative because we use it negative to express that something has not finished, but I expect it will finish soon. So we're talking about just in the future, but near to now. So this is when yet is talking about. They're all focused on this little window in the present now, and where in that window are we talking about? So here's some more examples. I've already seen this film. So maybe your friend shows you a movie and you go, oh, no, I've already seen this. I don't want to watch it again. We use the present perfect because the idea is here, but I say already because I did it in the past. It finished in the past. Or I say, David has just gone to the shop. So a friend calls and says, do you know where David is? Yes, I do. He has just gone to the shop. He left the house 1 or 2 seconds ago. He just left. Or we can say something like, the meeting, we haven't started the meeting yet. Come on, come in. We haven't started yet. I expect we will start very soon, but we have not. So we use yet in this sentence. Usually, just and already will happen between the auxiliary verb and the main verb. Yet will happen at the end of the sentence. Okay. So how do we make questions with all of this? It's always important to remember our question rules. So as I said, this is coming from the first video, the first lesson in this intermediate series. So we talked a bit about subject auxiliary inversion on Wednesday. So please come to this and watch that video if you need to see those rules in more detail. But a summary to help you remember is to make questions in English, move the auxiliary to the front of the sentence, and if there isn't an auxiliary, add do. So let's look. A normal, simple past sentence. David went to the store. Try to make the question form from this sentence. Go ahead and give it a try. David went to the store. Question is, did David go to the store? So if you said that, you are correct. So we'll look in detail where this did come from. But remember, for the past simple, you will need to add do to the sentences. So how about the next? Sarah has finished eating. Question? Anyone got it? Has Sarah finished eating? Yeah, so now we just move. We can use that subject auxiliary version. We can use rule 1. So let's look in detail with the first sentence. In the first sentence, we've got a subject, David, and the main verb, went. No auxiliary verb. So we cannot use rule 1, so we go to rule 2. There isn't an auxiliary verb, add do. So that's what we do. We add do. Did David go to the store? Now, go changes, or went changes to go, because our past is on do now. So do becomes did, so went becomes go. There's a lot of changes in the one sentence. So also remember that in past simple questions, if you had did, the verb will be an infinitive. Otherwise, in the statement form, it will be past. But how about the next sentence? Well, here we have our subject, our auxiliary verb has, and our main verb finished. So brilliant. Nothing to change. We use rule 1, and we move the auxiliary to the front of the sentence. Has Sarah finished? So what's important to remember is in the past tense here, past questions, we use did. Okay, so let's keep moving on. So now we're going to have some practice with irregular verbs. So practice with irregulars. What's going to happen is, here is a quick bit of notes about this. In the present simple, the irregular is the past tense form. For the present perfect, the irregular is going to be this past participle. And some verbs will have 3 different forms for each. So this is the quiz for you. I have a list here of infinitive verbs, and I want you to guess what is the other form. So we'll start with the past. For example, number 1, go. The past tense is went. Absolutely. So we're going to go down the list, and I want you to guess what is the past tense form before I show it. So anyone know past tense of be? What is it? Was. Yeah, exactly right. It is was. The next, fall. Yeah. Can you remember? Fall, past tense is fell. So I fell down the stairs yesterday. How about eat? Past tense. Anyone remember? Ate. Yeah. Okay. Next is bring. Past tense. This one changes a lot. It is brought. Spelling very strange here. B-R-O-U-G-H-T. Brought. Okay. Next here, past tense. Heard. Okay. How about get? What's your guess? It's got. Absolutely. Okay. So we're going to continue now. Give. Past tense is gave. And for know, can you remember past tense? Knew. I'm sure many of you knew that. All right. And then forget. Past tense. Forgot. See the connection as well. Forget and got. Forget and forgot follows the same rules. All right. Now how about hit? Past tense of hit. Well, this one's just hit. No change. This one's easy. Hit, hit. And then do. We talked about it last slide. It's did. All right. So those were all the, past simple. That should say past. The past simple forms for these verbs. So let's now do the participles. Again, these are often different from the past. If your verb is regular, an ed verb such as walk, I walked yesterday, the participle will also be walked. I have walked to work. However, with these irregular verbs, it changes again. So for example, go goes to went, becomes gone. So let's try to guess these as well with me. So be goes to was, the participle is been. If you said been, you are correct. So fall changes to fell, the past participle is fallen. You will notice this en suffix attached to the infinitive. Many English participles use this en suffix. So let's look. Eat, past tense ate, participle is eaten. Yep, there it is again. I have eaten lunch today. Okay, so bring changes to brought. Past participle is brought. Again, no change. So this one we follow the same. Here changes to heard, and that becomes heard. Again, no change. I have heard this before. How about get? Get becomes got, and then got becomes gotten. So in American English, we use gotten. In British English, you can use got for both forms. That is British English. In American English, we have this form, gotten. Your choice. Okay, so give changes to gave. Participle is given. Yep, again, we have this en form showing up again and again and again, so don't forget it. So how about this? Know, knew, participle, known. Yeah, this one changes a lot. Known. Okay. Number 10. Forget, forgot. Participle is forgotten. Yep, now we add the en. And then hit, hit. Oh, I don't know, this one's tricky. It's hit again. This one's all the way through. So some verbs will change for all three forms, some verbs will change for two forms, and then some verbs will not change at all. There are very few words like hit, but I include it to show that some will change the same. Okay, and then the final one, do, did, done. All right. I hope this was a good reminder of some of these irregulars. So as well, let's look at some practice. I was just going to show the differences between the past perfect and, the past simple and the present perfect. We're going to look to show the difference between those two. So a quick reminder, past simple, an action finished in the past. Present perfect, an action that started in the past and is connected to the present. So number 1, we blank to the park yesterday. Go. What do you think? We blank to the park yesterday. If you said went, you're correct. Simple past. We went yesterday. It happened in the past. Nothing today about the park. Number 2, Sandra blank all over Europe. Verb is travel. So remember what we do with experiences. Yeah, it has traveled because it's an experience. She remembers all of Europe. It is still with her, her memories, her knowledge. So we'll say Sandra's traveled all over Europe with the contraction S, Sandra's. All right, number 3, I blank my wallet this morning. What do you think? It is now, kind of connected to now. Ooh, but it was the past. Simple past. I lost my wallet this morning. It may be if you are still in the morning, it is still morning time, you could say, oh, I've lost my wallet. But if you say this in the afternoon, that's when the difference is. The lost was all in the morning, so there's nothing to now. So I've lost my wallet. Next, my mother sushi. Now we have an adverb, never, with the verb try. My mother sushi, never try. Well, if you said has never tried, you'd be correct. Now we've got an experience again. My mother has never tried sushi. All right, number 5. Oh no, I too much money on fast food this month. Oh no, I do that a lot myself. It's not good. So if you said have spent, you'd be correct. So, oh no, I've spent too much money on fast food this month. You're looking at your bank. You are looking at your money. You see there's too little. So there's the connection to now. You bought all the food in the past, but the result is present now. I don't have enough money, so I've spent too much money on food. And then finally, last one, blank. You blank the project yet. Big clue here with the word yet. Big help. Yeah, and I have a feeling you guessed right. It is have you finished the project yet? So have finished. And then we move it for the question. So have you finished the project yet? All right. So now we're moving on to that money vocabulary that I promised. And I'm just going to talk about some money verbs. The first is to borrow. This means to take money from somebody that will be returned. Always with borrow, you expect it to be returned. Then the opposite is to lend. That's to give money to somebody that will be returned. So you expect them to return it to you. To afford, this is to have money to pay for a thing. So if you can afford it, you have sufficient money to pay. To invest, this is to spend money, but you believe you will return more in the future. You will have more for it. To cost, this is just to say the price of something. It can be an object, an item, or a service, anything. And then finally, to be worth. So this is to say that the price of something is equal to the value. So an example is, it is worth it to cook dinner at home. It is worth it because it's so cheap to cook at home. So the time to cook is equal to what you get. So if those two things are equal, you can use the phrase be worth, or it is worth, or it was worth. All right, so I'm just going to quickly say all of those for pronunciation. So repeat after me. Borrow, borrow, lend, lend, afford, afford, invest, invest, cost, cost, to be worth, worth. All right. So I want to help a little bit with borrow and lend because sometimes there is some confusion. So I made this beautiful, beautiful drawing to help demonstrate the idea. So this is you and this is your friend. You give money to your friend. So therefore, you lend them money because it's about giving. Lending is always the idea of giving. One person gives to another. But let's change the people. The money is in the same direction, but the people now are different. Your friend to you. So you borrowed money from your friend because you took it, the idea of take. So always think that way. If you are talking about giving, you use lend. If you are talking about taking, you use borrow. And the important thing is always who is the subject of the sentence. So you lent money to your friend, or you borrowed from your friend, or your friend lent money to you, and your friend borrowed from you. So it's always about who is first, and that is how we change the verb around based on that idea of giving or taking. Okay. So here are some examples with those verbs. Jack borrowed money from his parents. If we swap the subjects, Jack's parents lent him money. So it's always about this subject position. Jack took money from his parents. Jack's parents gave him money. We can do the swap. If you can swap it, you know you are correct. All right, number 3. With my savings, I can afford a trip to Amsterdam. I have sufficient money. When the stock market is good, I like to invest money because I believe I will get more in the future. 5. These shoes cost 40 euro. So just to say the price. And then traveling is worth the money. The experience is very special. So the experience has equal value to the money. So it is worth it. Traveling is worth the money. Okay, so that was a lot of information and a lot of vocabulary. So please take some time to read. You can look at the notes page at the end that will have all of my slides for you to have. So I recommend downloading the notes page from this lesson. So here is a quick review. The past simple versus the past perfect. The simple is to say actions that finished totally in the past, whereas the perfect is to talk about actions that started in the past but have some connection to now. To make the past simple, you're looking at subject and verb ed for regulars. However, there are many irregular verbs, so be careful. For the perfect, it's going to be subject and auxiliary have or has, plus the past participle. For regular verbs, the ed is the past participle. However, though, there are many verbs with 3 forms, so you saw that in the previous slide, so be careful. Now, for pronunciation, for the past simple, that ed is so important. Don't forget, your throat will always help you. You can always feel the vibration to help make the decision. And then for the present perfect, the most important thing are contractions again. In addition to that, we talked about already, just, and yet. So already, finished in the past, just, finished, oh, right now, and yet, I expect to finish in the future. And then we have the money verbs that we just did, all of those examples with all of those different verbs talking about money. All right. So big lesson today, but that is everything for today. I hope you learned something new or remembered something that you forgot, if this is review for you. So please, as always, I'm going to be in the YouTube chat shortly after this finishes to help answer any questions you may have. So please ask questions. I'm happy to try to help. And as well, I hope to see you again very shortly to continue for the next lesson. So thank you so much for today, and I hope to see you again. Bye-bye.